We're always looking for new ways to grow more food in our small garden. Today I'll share the top 6 new strategies we tried in 2015 to grow more food than ever before. We grow a lot of crops vertically on trellises, but early in the growing season when the plants are just getting started, the space at the top is going to waste. So this spring it occurred to me that I could use the trellises to support grow shelves and thereby increase our growing space. To construct the shelf, I first ran a 1x4 through the trellises to serve as the bottom of the shelf. The shelf was supported by the metal grids of all 4 trellises. I then ran 1x4s through the adjacent grids on each side of the first board and used bungee cords to secure them. The shelf increased our growing space and elevated plants into a sunnier location. We started kale, collards, and lettuce on the shelf in the spring. As the plants matured, we transplanted the kale and collards into the garden and up-potted the lettuce to grow to maturity on the shelf, thereby increasing our growing space beyond our garden beds. And late this summer, with no room to start plants in the ground, we started our fall crop of lettuce and endive on 2 trellis shelves. These plants are now thriving in a cold frame inside our hoop house. This and other vertical growing strategies allow us to think of our small garden in terms of cubic feet instead of square feet. Another way we grew more food in 2015 than ever before was by expanding our growing space with this new keyhole-shaped raised bed, where there used to be a narrower bed. This bed goes further into the walkway, and even though it's quite wide, I can reach crops everywhere in the bed thanks to this keyhole opening. This bed was incredibly productive this year, as you can see in this picture of me sitting in the same location back in late June. We normally grow 12 to 16 indeterminate tomato plants per year, but this year we grew more than 20. We were able to do this by finding nooks and crannies all over the garden that would accommodate one single-stemmed indeterminate tomato plant, supported by one EMT conduit pipe. I pushed conduit into the ground along garden paths, at the edges of raised beds, and a variety of other locations, and planted individual plants at the bottom of each pipe. As the tomatoes grew, I tied them to the pipes for support and pruned all the suckers, resulting in a single stem. I also topped them off at about 8 feet tall. Because single-stem tomatoes only take up about 1 square foot of growing space, and we were planting them individually, we were able to find spaces that were perfectly good for growing tomatoes that we had never considered before. As a result, we had our largest tomato harvest ever. This is definitely a strategy we'll continue in the future. We used grow bags for the first time this year. In our backyard, we used them mostly to grow potatoes. In addition to potatoes grown in a raised bed, we grew them in several 7-gallon grow bags, giving us our biggest potato harvest ever. Space is limited in our backyard, so we put the bags in a walkway between 2 raised beds. This made getting around the garden challenging, but the extra potatoes made up for the inconvenience. Yields were a bit lower in the bags compared to the raised bed, but the additional growing space provided by the bags gave us a higher yield overall. So we'll continue to use this approach in the future. Grow bags also enabled us to grow a lot more in our front yard this year. That's our sunniest location, so it's a great place to grow peppers and eggplants. We're not supposed to grow in the ground there without a permit, but we did get away with growing in grow bags, and we probably doubled our eggplant and pepper production as a result. The last way we grew more crops in 2015 than ever before was by extending our growing season with our new hoop house. Though the weather has been very mild so far this December, most of these crops would not have survived the cold and snow without protection. But with protection, we expect to continue harvesting crops all through the winter. In next week's video, I'll show some of the crops we harvested this December. I'll also share some recipes to give you a better idea of how we use these cold-hardy crops in meals. I hope you enjoyed this closer look at how we grew more food in 2015 than ever before. This winter I hope to come up with more ideas on how to increase our yields next year. If you'd like to share some of your favorite strategies for growing a lot of food on a little land, please leave a comment below. Well, that's all for now. Thank you very much for watching. And until next time, remember, you can change the world 1 yard at a time.